Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest, Calvin. I am so honored to have such a trailblazer with us today. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
Hello, Calvin. I am Mamie Phipps Clark. I was a psychologist, and my life's work was dedicated to understanding how children develop and how societal prejudice affects their sense of self. My husband Kenneth and I are perhaps best known for our research on racial identity, which helped change the landscape of civil rights in America.
It is truly a privilege. Let's go back to the beginning. When and where were you born?
Mamie, I was born on April 18th, 1917, in the beautiful town of Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Calvin, what was your given name at birth?
Mamie. My name at birth was Mamie Phipps.
Calvin, is there a story behind your birth name?
Mamie. It was simply the name passed down through my family. I was the daughter of Harold Phipps, a physician, and my mother, Katie.
Calvin, what was your hometown like growing up?
Mamie. Hot Springs was a unique place. It had a reputation as a resort town, but growing up there in the Jim Crow South meant living in a segregated society. It was a place of stark contrasts, and I learned very early on that I had to maintain a sort of protective armor just to navigate the world safely. It taught me to be observant and resilient.
Calvin, what was your family life like?
I was very fortunate. We were a middle-class, close-knit family. My father was a well-respected physician, and my mother was a wonderful homemaker who often assisted him in his practice. They instilled in me the value of education and the belief that I could accomplish anything if I worked hard enough.
Calvin, what kind of kid were you?
Mamie. I was curious, focused, and definitely a bit studious. I grew up aware of the world around me, perhaps a bit more serious than some of my peers because I had to be. But I was also full of dreams.
Calvin, what were your biggest fears growing up?
I think, like many children in my position, I feared the unseen threats that segregation imposed on us. You were constantly aware that the world outside your home didn't always see your humanity. That sense of needing to be on guard was a constant underlying fear.
Calvin, what did you dream of becoming as a child?
I always knew I wanted to help children. Initially, I thought that might mean becoming a teacher, so I gravitated toward mathematics and physics. I love the structure of those subjects.
Calvin, what were some of your favorite activities in school?
I loved learning, period. I was an excellent student, and I took great pride in my academic achievements. I was very driven to excel because I knew that education was the key to opening doors that were otherwise closed to people like me.
Calvin, what was your first job?
Mamie. Between graduation from Howard and starting my master's, I worked as a secretary for Charles Hamilton Houston, a brilliant NAACP lawyer. Being in that office, which served as a planning ground for legally challenging segregation, was an incredibly formative experience. It really shifted my perspective on how to affect systemic change.
Calvin, was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
I realized it quite early. In the Jim Crow South, you are told you are different every single day by the signs you see and the places you cannot go. I knew from childhood that I was African American and that the world was going to demand a certain kind of strength from me that others might not need.
Calvin, what's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Mamie, choosing to switch my focus from math and physics to psychology. It seemed like a natural academic shift at the time, but it set me on the path to research, my work with children in Harlem, and everything that followed.
Calvin, what was your biggest break?
Mamie, meeting Kenneth. We were both at Howard University and we clicked instantly over our shared passion for psychology. We became partners in life and in research. In our collaboration, our combined brain power was definitely the catalyst for our most impactful work.
Calvin, what were your biggest struggles before success?
Mamie, navigating the academic world as a Black woman. It was a field dominated by white men who, frankly, did not expect much from me. I had to fight to be taken seriously at Columbia, and even after earning my doctorate, I faced doors being slammed in my face when looking for academic positions. It was incredibly frustrating.
Calvin, did you ever consider quitting?
Oh, there were plenty of days when the frustration was overwhelming, but I didn't have the luxury of quitting. I felt a responsibility to the children I worked with and to the research that needed to be done. The work was bigger than my own frustration.
Calvin, were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
Mamie, discipline and persistence. Whether it was balancing motherhood with my doctoral studies or managing the daily operations of the Northside Center, I learned to keep moving forward, one step at a time. I believed in the importance of creating our own opportunities when the world refused to give us any.
Calvin, what job would you have had if fame never happened?
I think I would have been a dedicated classroom teacher. I always had a deep desire to nurture children and support their development.
Calvin, what was your life like before fame?
It was focused on study, hard work, and building a foundation. Kenneth and I were just two young people trying to navigate a challenging landscape while dreaming of making a meaningful difference.
Calvin, how did relationships change after success?
Mamie, success brings attention, for better or worse. People began to look at us differently, and the weight of our work grew. But my closest relationships remained anchored in the work we were doing and the people who truly mattered.
Calvin, did fame bring happiness?
Mamie, the work brought satisfaction. The fame was just a byproduct. Seeing children grow and thrive, that brought me happiness.
Calvin, what was the downside of becoming famous?
Mamie, the scrutiny and the constant demand for our time. It can be exhausting when you are constantly being asked to represent an entire movement.
Calvin, what misconceptions did people have about you?
People sometimes assume that because we were researchers, we were distant from the community. Nothing could have been further from the truth. The Northside Center was my heart and soul. I was there with the children and families every single day.
Calvin, what was your darkest moment?
Mamie, watching the systemic ways that racism continued to damage children's self-esteem. It was painful to witness that reality time and time again in my clinical work.
Calvin, what past regrets did you carry that you spoke about?
Mamie, I regret that the progress toward equality has been so slow. I always wished I could have done more, faster, for the children who needed help.
Calvin, what's something people misunderstood about your life?
That the research was purely academic. My work was deeply personal, born out of my own experiences growing up and my observations as a mother and a psychologist. It was never just about a test. It was about human beings.
Calvin, tell me about a time when everything went wrong and how did you handle it?
When I was looking for a job after my PhD, I was turned down repeatedly. Instead of waiting for an invitation that wasn't coming, I decided to build something of my own. That led to the creation of the Northside Center for Child Development. I took the rejection as a sign that I needed to change the rules of the game.
Calvin, did fame and fortune change your life?
Mamie, not in the way you might think. We kept our focus on our mission. I remember Kenneth once asked me why I wasn't interested in keeping up with the Joneses. And I told him, Kenneth, we are the Joneses. That remained my philosophy.
Calvin, what personal battles were you fighting privately?
Mamie, balancing the intense demands of being a pioneer in psychology, a researcher, and a mother. It was a constant juggling act, and like any mother, I struggled with the daily pressure to be everything to everyone.
Calvin, who had the biggest influence on your life?
Mamie, my parents for their unwavering belief in me, and my husband Kenneth. We were a team, and his support and shared vision were invaluable.
Calvin, what was life like in your final years?
Mamie, They were years of reflection and continued service. I remain deeply committed to the Northside Center and to the belief that every child deserves a chance.
Calvin, what were you working on in your career before you passed away?
My focus was always on the continued development of the Northside Center. Ensuring it had a lasting legacy in Harlem was my final great project.
Calvin, when and where and how did you pass away, and how old were you?
Mamie. I passed away in New York City on August 11th, 1983, at the age of 66. It was due to cancer.
Calvin, what's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
Mamie. Despite my serious work, I had a very simple, grounded life. I wasn't into entertaining or grand social events. I preferred the quiet work of making a real, tangible difference in a child's day.
Calvin, what's the craziest rumor ever told about you?
Mamie. I tried to stay away from rumors. I found that focusing on the work was the best defense against nonsense.
Calvin, what was your most unique habit?
Mamie. I suppose my habit of seeing the potential in every child, even when the world told them they had none. I treated it as a professional necessity, not just a trait.
Calvin, what was your favorite food?
Mamie. I was a woman of simple taste. I loved food that brought people together, but honestly, I was too busy working to have a favorite restaurant or dish.
Calvin, what was your favorite book?
I read a lot of psychological literature, but I always found inspiration in stories of resilience and human spirit.
Calvin, did you have any known rivalries?
Mamie. I didn't dwell on rivals. There was too much work to be done to waste time on conflict.
Calvin, tell us a story nobody talks about.
Most people don't know that when we started the Northside Center, we had almost no money. My father gave us a small loan to get it off the ground. We started in a single room in a basement apartment. It wasn't glorious, but it was ours, and it was enough.
Calvin, what's your funniest behind-the-scenes moment?
Mamie. I suppose the sight of two intellectuals, Kenneth and me, trying to build a center out of a basement with no resources. We were so serious about our mission that I imagine we looked quite comical trying to furnish that space with almost nothing.
Calvin, did you ever prank someone?
I don't think I had the time for pranks. I was too busy trying to change the world.
Calvin, what was the most outlandish purchase you made?
I don't think I ever made an outlandish purchase. My life was very much defined by frugality and focus.
Calvin, what advice would you give people chasing success?
Mamie, don't chase success for the sake of fame. Chase your purpose. If you find something that makes the world a better place and you work at it with everything you have, that is where you will find true, lasting success.
Calvin, thank you so much for sharing your story, Mamie. Before we sign off, do you have any closing remarks for our listeners?
Mamie, just this. Never let the world define your potential. You have the power to create your own path and to make a difference, no matter how small you think your contributions are. Thank you for having me, Calvin. It has been a wonderful experience to share my story with you.
Calvin, it has been an absolute honor. Today we heard from Dr. Mamie Phipps Clark, a psychologist whose work fundamentally reshaped our understanding of race and identity, and a pioneer who built a legacy of care in Harlem. Her resilience and commitment to children continue to inspire us all. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.